I want to ask you something, and I want you to actually sit with it for a second. If somebody Googled your name right now, not your company, not your title, just you, what would they find? A LinkedIn profile that hasn't been touched in 2 years? A headshot that's from a different chapter of your life? Or nothing at all? Because here's what I walked away with after attending a live a couple of weeks ago. People form impressions of you before you even speak. Before the handshake, before the phone call, before the referral even reaches you. And most of us are leaving that impression completely to chance. I recently attended a training called TMS Live, hosted by Andrew Hooper, Tim Hooper, and Mike Gandolfo. And I think a lot of us came into this live with a little bit of skepticism about whether LinkedIn can actually move the needle. I'm Miriam, and I work in marketing. And I think about brand every single day, whether it's for campaigns, for events, for the businesses that I work with. And I still left this training with a list of things that I hadn't been doing for myself. That gap between the things that we do for others and the things that we do for ourselves, I think a lot of us live in there longer than what we like to admit. So today I'm sharing with you what actually landed. 3 things. And at least one of those things is going to reframe how you think about LinkedIn entirely. A friend of mine told me not too long ago that he doesn't use LinkedIn because, and I'm quoting, it feels like a place where people just brag about their achievements. And I've heard the other version as well. LinkedIn is just an online resume that you polish when you're job hunting and you just ignore for the rest of the time. Andrew Hooper addressed this directly. He said that that way of thinking made sense maybe 7 or 8 years ago, when LinkedIn was actually a recruiting platform. But it has changed significantly. And if that's still how you see LinkedIn, you're leaving something real on the table. Let's think about it from a different point of view. Imagine you have a friend who recommended a restaurant to you. Do you just show up at the restaurant or just call and make a reservation? Or do you, like me, go online, Google the place, read the reviews, look at the menu, go on their social media pages and look at pictures and what people say about it? I think a lot of us do that. See, people want to experience you before they even engage with you. That's not really skepticism. That's just how decisions are made nowadays. And here's why LinkedIn really matters in that moment. It is the most trusted professional platform. When someone DMs you on Instagram, it feels a little bit off. But on LinkedIn, it's almost expected to get a DM, It's a space made for business conversation. LinkedIn is not a brag board. It's not a online resume. It's the first version of you that people encounter, and it deserves to be intentional. The second thing they talked about in the training was one of the most visible parts of your LinkedIn presence, your headline. Not your title, your headline, and those are not the same thing. Every time you comment on anything on LinkedIn, your name shows up, and right underneath it, it's your headline. Every single person reading that thread is gonna see your name and your headline. So instead of using your title, which people can see under your experience, under your profile, think about who you serve and what you help them accomplish. That's the version of your headline that's gonna make people stop scrolling and be like, I wanna learn more about this person. Beyond the headline, they broke down the About section into 3 main pieces: who you are, your credibility, and an approachability statement. Something that brings it back to being human. Make sure you keep it short and write it in your own voice. Do not use AI to write your About section. I think most of us have been using AI for a while, and we can tell the difference. People can tell the difference now. In a world where so much content is generated, writing like yourself is a competitive advantage. The third thing that was talked about in the training was even bigger than just LinkedIn, because it's about how AI is changing the way people find you online. Andrew mentioned that when somebody searches your name, AI tools are increasingly the ones delivering the answer, and not just a list of links. They actually give a summary about who you are. For general searches, the top sources that AI tools pulls from are YouTube and Reddit, which are platforms with high volumes of human conversation. But for professional searches specifically, the kind where somebody is looking for a real estate agent, a mortgage broker, a title rep, LinkedIn is the number one source that AI uses or cites. Ahead of Wikipedia, ahead of major news publishers, ahead of YouTube. So your LinkedIn page is not something people land on. It's what AI reads when somebody asks about you, which means the words on your LinkedIn profile are either working or not working, without you even knowing it. The strategy that Andrew laid out is very practical. Write 20 articles answering actual questions that your clients ask you. Give the answer in the first 50 to 70 words. No buildup. And this example was used in the training as well. But do you guys remember those websites for recipes? When you go to the page, you had to scroll down through all the photos of the steps and all the information in order to get to the recipe all the way in the bottom. Let's not do that. Give the answer in the first 50 to 70 words, and then you can elaborate and keep the article between 500 and 700 words. Keep it short. You can post once a week, and every quarter go back to those articles. You can update them. If there's any changes, make them, and just keep rotating. You're not starting from scratch every time. Consistency builds trust faster than volume. The goal isn't really to be everywhere. The goal is to be findable, credible, and worth sharing, so your content reaches people who would have never found you otherwise. So here's where I'm landing with all of this. LinkedIn is not a brag board. It's not your resume page that you dust off every time you're job hunting. It's the first version of you that people encounter, and increasingly is the version of you that AI is using to describe you when somebody asks about you. Start with one thing. Update your headline. You don't have to go through your whole profile. Your headline is the most important piece because it shows up every time you interact with somebody on the platform. And it should work for you. If this resonated, feel free to subscribe. I talk about marketing, AI, real estate, personal brand, and what it looks like to actually build something with intention. I'll see you in the next one.